This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and now for something different, yet somehow the same. This is the Dell XPS 13. You see, you've heard about that machine. It's been around for a while, and in Intel. Well, this time it's the 9345 model, which is Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite. For those of you who are looking for that cutting-edge ARM processor, better battery life, less heat, we hope we'll find out if that's true now. The list price for the XPS 13 starts at $1,300. That's the list price. You might find it for less, goes on sale, all that sort of thing. So you're looking at similar pricing to the Intel model. But what's nice about this is a lot of the Snapdragon X Elites that came out for 2024 were higher end machines, so they are inherently more expensive. So for those of you who don't want the top bells and whistles and really want something more affordable, Dell has an advantage there. So how bad is it for $1,300? Well, actually not bad. Full HD plus LCD display, that would be the lowest end display option available. 512 gig SSD, 16 gigs of RAM. But you can go up, and of course if you want that 3K OLED display with touch on it, they have full HD base model is non-touch, you can get that, and there's an in-between 2K IPS display that is a touchscreen as well. So you have options there, and in terms of RAM, you can get with 16, 32, or 64 gigs of storage and up to 2 terabytes for the SSD. Now, Snapdragon platform, so that means RAM is soldered. It's really fast RAM, as you can look at the specs to see the speed on that. So that's the upside, but no, you're not going to upgrade this afterwards. But then again, most Ultrabooks didn't have upgradable RAM anyway, so due to space constraints. The M.2 SSD is upgradable. That is about the only thing. The Wi-Fi card, which is a Qualcomm Wi-Fi 7 card with Bluetooth 5.4, is also soldered on board, so not a lot you can do there. Feels a little Apple-esque. That's the price you pay for miniaturization, because this isn't new, but just for those of you who haven't thought about the XPS line in a while, it's stupidly small. It's crazy how small this thing is, right? In a world where 14-inch laptops are kind of replacing 13-inch in some cases, this one really bucks the trend by being as tiny as you can imagine. 13.4-inch display on this, and it weighs like 2.6 pounds or 1.17 kilograms. It's diminutive. This thing is easy to carry, and that does fit the spirit of ARM processors and Snapdragon, something that doesn't get too hot and runs a long time, take it anywhere. Sort of the dream of what you wish you could have done, and so far was only possible with mobile OS tablets previously, right? That's it. The bad parts of an XPS 13 are here too, which include a edge-to-edge keyboard, no chiclet, no island-style keyboard, no space between the keys. It's been a while since most of us have typed on that sort of thing, so it's not as tactile. There's not a lot of key travel here. It does literally go to the edges of the machine, and I expect that's why actually they have this edge-to-edge style key, because otherwise you'd have really small keycaps, right, to fit in a small space. This thing is tiny, but it's not the most enjoyable typing experience. The trackpad is haptic, but it is that weirdo borderless trackpad, which looks beautiful. It looks clean, but I do find myself actually going off the reservation, literally, and oh, wait, the trackpad doesn't extend that far, because you can't see it or feel it. There's no ridge around the trackpad, right? And lastly, there's that infamous capacitive FN row. You feel like these were the things that they took from Apple, and even Apple abandoned, and they're sticking to their guns at Dell, and they're still doing it. I don't know why. So the FN row / multimedia keys are capacitive, not physical keys. It saves space, no doubt, to do that, right? There's no moving part underneath the keyboard deck to account for when they design it this way. So I get why it's happening, but it doesn't mean I have to like it anyway. One last thing is ports. Oh my God, what ports, right? It has 2 USB-C ports. That's it. USB-C 4 at least, so they're high speed. One of them will be used by the USB-C 60-watt charger that comes with the machine. So, you know, your phone has one USB-C port. At least this one has 2, I suppose. That's how minimalist it is. So no headphone jack even. No. That's the name of the game here. It's about the apex of portability. You just need to compute. You don't really want to have to plug in a whole lot of things on the go, all that sort of thing, or you're going to use a dock. All right, so those are the negatives, which the same negatives exist for the Intel model too. The limited ports, the capacitive FN row, all that stuff is the same here. So what stands out here for the Snapdragon model is it's full Windows 11, and it's got the MS Prism emulator. So it can run x86 programs. Believe me, I do as part of our testing, like our colorimeter is x86 software only. That said, you know, if your school uses some testing software that might be very specific, or your business, or you have some older hardware where you need drivers that are native to ARM, that could be a problem. Typically, the stuff that I do, I'm not having a problem. Adobe, because they don't want you to have a substandard experience, once you download the Adobe Creative Cloud desktop, unless they have an ARM version available, which they do, like for Photoshop and Lightroom, but for the others, they try to block downloading until they have ARM versions available later this year. But you can get around that, at least I do, by just downloading straight from their website and getting it that way after you log into your account on their website. Anyway, that small caveats there for those of you who need to worry about that stuff. But for the rest of us, performance on this is top notch. And no matter which model of XPS 13 with Snapdragon inside you buy, you're getting the same X Elite processor. So yes, it's fast. It benchmarks really fast on things like Geekbench and on Cinebench, and experientially it is very snappy. It's nice. So it can do everything your Intel Core Ultra 7 version of this could do, and probably a little bit faster. But the important thing with Snapdragon is, just like with Apple's M3 ARM-based processor, is more efficiency. So it's using less power and making less heat. Now, the base model, the Full HD Plus, is the good one when it comes to battery life, pushing less resolution, not pushing OLED. So that helps too. But I was easily able to get 14-hour runtimes on a charge for light to moderate uses, which includes some Photoshop even, so ARM native Photoshop. So that's good. If you're running x86 emulation, it'll hit the battery life a bit more, but still, this is significantly better than the Intel version of this machine. And yeah, it can get warm because this thing is tiny, you know, I mean, and it does have 2 fans to cool it, which helps, but it'll get warm but not hot. That's the challenge we've always seen with the XPS 13. Diminutive size means a lot of heat. Well, no, more efficient here, so thumbs up for those things. So if you're looking for a machine that is really portable, cool, quiet, longer battery life, well, this is definitely something that you can look at if you can live with the limitation of the ports and if you're okay with the keyboard. If you move to the OLED, probably you're going to lose like 3 hours on runtime, so there's that. But the 500 nit Full HD Plus isn't that bad. I mean, it's full sRGB coverage. It's not horrible looking, and it's 500 nits. The mid-tier 2560 by 1600 display is also 500 nits for brightness, not bad, a little watercolor gamut. And OLED's only 400 nits, but hey, it's OLED. It is gorgeous to look at. And here are those internals. The M.2 SSD is here, and 2280 will fit. They have a shorty in here. PCIe 4, so decent speeds on this. Obviously, we got 2 fans here for cooling. And that is it for what you can do yourself, other than replacing the battery should you need to. Speaker drivers here, the downward facing ones. The Wi-Fi is soldered on in this. RAM is soldered on in this. So there you have it. Minimalism at its best. Lastly, there's the speakers. We have quad stereo speakers, and it's 8 watts total. That sounds pretty impressive, but it is a small chassis, and there's not a lot of bass here. I mean, it's okay, but that part's not woohoo. But again, it is tiny. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.